Okay, so I'm actually going to introduce Amy Cawvey. So, I thought about what to say about Amy. I kind of put a few things together this morning, but there's really one word that describes her: qualified. Okay? She was very instrumental in helping with the French for the 40th campaign. Last year was very trying for so many people. We saw a lot of things going on with not only the school board, but the city council, city commission, as well as churches shutting down, small businesses were affected. But the biggest thing, we saw the school board hinder the education of students this last year. A lot of negative, but I want to point out some positive for you. So while I knocked about 3,500 doors for Representative French last year, I met a lot of wonderful people. It gave me the ability to really put forth a recruiting effort in the 40th, which we're still working on, as well as School District 469. So when I approached Amy for running for school board, do you know what she said to me? End quote. "I am not qualified. I have no experience." So quickly I corrected her. And I told her that you are more qualified than the majority of people that are running for that specific position. Why? Let me tell you why. So as a parent, she has been actively involved with the current school board, not only during her political campaign right now, but even before. She has challenged their decisions. She has attended pretty much every meeting, especially this last year. But she's also put forth a lot of concerns from other parents. The school board typically has been bullied by the teachers union. And so we've witnessed on Facebook a lot of attacks from the teachers in the school district to Amy just for her decisions to run for school board. But one of the reasons why that she decided to fight them was because she was tired of seeing her own children being bullied. So just recently I went door to door with Amy and I was really pleased. You've got a new candidate, you want to kind of show them the ropes, tell them what to do or help them, just show them how to talk to people, and I didn't even need to help her. I mean, we went to David, but the very first door that we knocked on, I just said, "Do your thing," and she did her thing. She has done so much research. She has educated herself on not only the practice of being a member of the school board, but also concerning the allocations of budget, and as well as how each stakeholder is involved in this. So she's qualified. And she has no agenda other than ensuring the freedoms that her husband fought for are not trampled on by the city, not only the city of Lansing, but the school board. So let's welcome Amy Cawvey.
You know how to use this?
I think so.
Okay.
We'll see. Thank you, Amy. Read April.
That's great.
Yes.
Get past here. All right. Well, I have all of these things up here, but basically what you need to know is I'm fairly new to Lansing. I've been here since 2016 when my husband retired, and we're going to stay here for now. But because of that, I don't know a lot of people in Lansing. I'm beginning to meet more, knocking on doors and other avenues. But because of that, I also do not owe anyone, and I'm not owned by anyone. That's right. There's been a little bit of that going on in the district, so you don't have to worry about that with me. But other than some of my items on here, basically it's more about what I can do for you instead of being about me, and what I've seen not happen with the board. We all know the COVID response last year. Let's talk about the school closing a little bit. During those meetings, the schools put out a survey, or I should say the superintendent put out a survey, asking parents what they wanted to do. Do you want in school? Do you want remote learning? How many days a week do you want? Over 80% of the parents wanted in-school learning 5 days a week. So fast forward to the board meeting. Several of them wanted 0 in-school learning. And then when that was argued back and forth, it finally ended up with a 4-3 vote going back just 4 days. Now, 2 of those votes, it should have been 7-0, by the way, because the school board works for the parents and the taxpayers, and they did not listen, as you can tell. But 2 of those votes, they are not going to run again, 2 of the conservatives. So if we lose those seats and the 3rd seat, we're going to be looking at basically nothing changing, same old, and when something else comes up with the schools, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit with CRT, we're not going to have anybody there to represent the parents and the students and their wishes. Because it's obvious with the COVID response, they took that survey and I don't know what happened to it, but they didn't listen to it. So in the remote learning, it led to mental health issues, isolation. Students academically are over 1 year behind. That is not going to be able to be there. There's funding that's coming through for COVID in schools, even more funding, but you can't make that up. The masks, I found it interesting that at the last meeting they decided to rescind some of the mask mandates, but again, they also talked about reinstating those for the fall, just for flu season. And that's going to go over really well with most people. So I do not believe in the mask mandates. They should not be. It should be a personal choice if the students or teachers want to wear them, but it never should be mandated. The vaccine requirements, that right now they're not mandating it for the children, but we know that that's coming too. They keep dropping the age requirement for the students on the experimental vaccine. So that'll be the next thing. I think that healthcare should be a choice made by the parents and the children and their doctor, and not mandated by the school. Also, the staff right now is running at about 60% have the vaccine, 40% do not. I don't think the staff should be required to get the vaccine either. That should be up to them. I don't know if anybody's been following, but in Leavenworth, they actually banned volunteers from going on the field trip because they did not want to show their papers, or their COVID cards. Papers, please? Yeah. The parents did not want to do that. So they raised a stink. It made it on the local media. And sure enough, they got a response. But what it was, these children who went through remote learning, finally back to school, no field trips all year, no playground time, all of that, looking forward to their field trip. Oh wait, the parents don't want to show their papers, we're going to cancel field trip. That's not going to happen at Lansing, at least if I can help it.
Amen.
That shouldn't be required, and it's none of their business anyways, what your health care is. Let's go next to the budget and performance. Talked a little bit about this with some staff here. I don't know if anybody had the pleasure of watching a board meeting, but it's not a lot of fun, but they're not very transparent on how the budget is allocated. Everybody says we need more funding, we need more funding. Teachers are broke, they don't get paid enough, we need more for the schools. But the fact is the budget has risen every year for the last 10 years. But at the board level, at the district level, the school board is in charge for allocating those funds to different areas. They can choose how much to allocate to instruction, increase teacher pay. They can choose how much to allocate to increase the superintendent's pay, and other areas that could be cut and haven't been. The administrator pay has risen. It's 3 times an average teacher pay. Many of those administrators are married, or they will retire with $1 million retirements, while they say we need more funding for the schools. 63% of our state budget already goes, of your tax money, 63% is going to schools as it is. So we don't have a funding problem, we have an allocation problem on the board level. And they like to put that off on, especially the teachers' unions want to blame that on the legislatures. I won't name any names. But that's not the case. It's the board needs to be held accountable for that. And part of that is the transparency of going back to the top, and that is, I believe that all of the board member votes should be public record, where we'll be elected officials, and how we vote should be a record to anyone to be able to look up as far as the curriculum that's going to be taught. We're going to go over that. That should be public record. And student performance, that's another one. Less than 30% of our students in Kansas are ready for college when they graduate. College isn't for anyone, depends who you ask. But we also have trade schools. But the fact of the matter is, we want to not increase other curriculum, social curriculum, I like to call it, when our students are not even managing reading, writing, math. So let's move on to, and they're also being taught to hate their country, but we'll go on to that with the CRT. Here we go. This is a big one, so this might take a few minutes to get through this, but I believe it's one of the most important things. Our school board has shown, even if, say, 80% of y'all are, no, we don't want CRT in our classrooms. What did they do with COVID? They took that, and it went away. They didn't care. They didn't care what the teacher or what the parents felt. They didn't care what the taxpayers thought. They just did what they wanted to. Well, that's not right. Most of you also might not know, but I am against CRT. I know it's a shock.
Really?
Yeah. If you've been on social media, you've seen some of the names. The left, when they don't like someone or like their agenda, one of the first things they'll do is call you a racist. Second thing they'll do is call you a white supremacist. They did both of those to me, but that's okay. I admit I was a little upset that day, but I'm not going to back down to it. If you're not familiar with critical race theory, the main goal of them is to teach everyone that race is their most important quality, which is the opposite of what Martin Luther King stood for. It is a Marxist agenda, and by doing so, their goal is to divide individuals into either an oppressor or a victim. So when your child goes to school, they're going to be told they're either an oppressor or a victim, which is it. And if your child happens to be from mixed parents, what are they, right? How are you going to figure that out? But that's their goal. They want to divide our country. They want everything to be viewed through the lens of race. Some people say that this isn't happening in Lansing yet, but I can assure you, some of the responses that I got from staff in school, it is. They already have the reading materials, the lessons plans, the curriculum, and it's already being slid in to the students. It's just not an official adopted curriculum. The other stickler with critical race theory is equity versus equality. Critical race theory, they want equity, and that demands an equal outcome regardless of your performance, as opposed to equality, which is an equal opportunity, not an equal outcome. And I have realized that many do not know the difference, or they do know and they are pushing for socialism, which we know, tried in other countries, will always fail. They want to implement critical race theory and the 1619 Project, which will both try to systemically dismantle the true founding of our country and our Constitution. CRT wants race to be the lens, like I said, that all life is analyzed, and it's being embraced by the left and is yet another way that they're trying to indoctrinate our children. We need education and not indoctrination. School boards across America are being taken back by conservatives. They've had enough. And I will do my part if you will help me by doing yours. So I have just a few goals if I'm elected. My first one is just a few. Keep CRT out of our schools. Second, keep CRT out of our schools. Might do a few other things too. I talked about board accountability and the public voting record. Everyone should be able to easily access that. Also should have open, I'm going to just add this in there, under address the school work climate. The teachers and the other staff should be able to communicate with the board anonymously, without fear of being punished, without going through the superintendent. There's a problem with the work climate, and I think that is one of the biggest factors. They're afraid of the superintendent taking what is being said or the problems that they're having and either just not having it addressed by the board or being punished for speaking out about it. So that needs to be taken care of right away. As far as teacher pay, some people think, oh, how are you going to do that, raise money? No, that's what I was talking about with the budget It comes from the state, and then comes down to the school board, you have a set amount, and then it's allocated. Right now, about 50% goes to instruction. That includes the teacher pay. The teacher pay, again, has stayed pretty much flat, while the administrator pay has risen, new buildings and other things that don't really correlate directly to our student performance. And teacher pay has been known to be one of the biggest factors with school performance, with the student performance. So I would like to try to do that, but not raising mill levies, not asking for more money, not using the same excuses, throwing more money at the problem and not getting any different results. And then this one will shock you, keep CRT out of schools. But how am I going to do that? I need volunteers, I need help with door knocking, I need signs in the yard, I need to spread the word, I need money. I need you to get out and vote on August 3rd. I need you to come out and vote again, of course, for the general once I win that.
That's right.
I need money. Did I mention that? Yeah. And again, the primary on August 3rd. And just lastly, one more thing. Kind of goes with my CRT and the rest of it. We need education, not indoctrination. Ronald Reagan is one of my favorite presidents. I'm that old. And his quote, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction." And with CRT, if that is implemented into our schools, then we are that generation away. Because it teaches the students to hate their country. It teaches to dismantle. They want to dismantle the Constitution. They want to change even when the country and how the country was founded. If we don't stop it now, then we don't know what's going to be happening next. So I ask for your support. I ask you to support other board members who are running on a similar platform here across the country. I have a feeling this fall we're going to shock a lot of people. Yeah. We've already seen some elections across the country where conservatives have flipped boards. And I think that the teacher unions are they're pretty nervous, as you can tell from my Facebook page.
Amen.
Yeah, they're worried. So let's keep this going. And then I will, hopefully, hand it over to Dan, who's going to run for Lansing City